What's up, Land Golf Academy members and guests, and thank you for joining me again. We got a news edition to start off the video, and then we're going to look at Jake Knapp and why he hits the golf ball so easily. Although it looks like it's easy, it's not really that easy. There's a misconception out there that there's a smooth, buttery swing can help you hit it 190 miles an hour, whatever that is. But keep in mind, we're a little bit older than those kids out there. But we're also going to take a look at some news around the block in the world of golf. But if you want to skip all this jargon, go straight to the golf swing diagnosis. Timestamp is below. Skips it all ahead. But if you want to stay with me for some news updates, let's just check this out. So we're at golfiscity.com, and this is a cool little place to get some news, and we're going to talk about Charlie Woods plays in the U.S. Junior Amateur, and here is how he fared on day one. We can see he shot an 82, which is 12 over par, but the thing about this is take a look at how many people are watching this guy play. I mean, there's hundreds of people just because he is Tiger Woods' son. Now, how hard is it to live in the shadow of a great? And it is very hard. Don't believe me, ask Jack Nicklaus Jr., who was quite an accomplished golfer, winning a couple of amateurs, and he was never able to catapult his career in the PGA Tour. Even though he was on the tour, he just couldn't live up to the reputation of his father. Same thing that's going to happen with Charlie Woods, I'm afraid. Probably a good golfer, but is it going to be easy to separate himself from the great Tiger? It's going to be very challenging. Look at LeBron James. Same sort of thing is happening there, but that's a different situation. There's a little bit of a forced hand going on there, but this one, I know that Tiger wants him to play well. I know that he wants to play well. Hey, I'm rooting for him. I'm sure you guys are rooting for him, but it's just a tough thing to overcome. Let me know what you think about it in below. But so the way I think about this is there's something missing when you are growing up as the son or daughter of somebody huge. And it could be in business, could be anything. Trying to create a name for yourself, but specifically in the golf world. Now you look at Tiger when he grew up in a modest facility, played a lot of public golf courses, didn't really have a lot growing up. He learned how to play, he learned how to dig it out of the dirt. He played in public golf courses that didn't have the best lies, bunkers weren't raked, greens were all horrible. He learned how to hit it out of these funky situations, which is why he's such an imaginative player, because he grew up in that environment. And now we take a look at one more generation. We have his son who grows up and he's got a private driving range. He's got a private 9-hole pitch and putt golf course in his backyard. He's got the best of the best. There's just something missing. There's no chip on the shoulder. And the same thing with most of these greats is they have that chip that fuels them to get them out of that situation. And I think he's missing that chip. But let me know your thoughts. And let me know your thoughts on this one. Tiger Woods is probably going to be playing the Senior Tour fairly soon. Actually, the Champions Tour. And how do you guys feel about him switching the tours? I think it's about time. Obviously, he's still Tiger. He still has a huge draw. If he goes to any PGA Tour event, I don't care if he's 70, he's still going to draw people. And that's really what separates him from everybody else on the tour currently. But the Champions Tour, unfortunately for people like us who wish to play it, it is almost impossible to play your way on the Champions Tour now. It is dubbed the Retirement Tour to take care of the PGA Tour legends who wish to go off into the sunset, still draw some names. Nobody wants to watch Joe Chop like me on a Monday qualifier and go win in a Senior Tour event. That's not what sells tickets. But what sells tickets is Tiger Woods at 64 years old, still out there hobbling along, winning tournaments. So unfortunately for guys like me, that dream is past now. I think it's going to be kind of cool to see him out there playing with his old buddies. It'll be like the leaderboard of 1998 once again. Let me know what you think about that too. And lastly, we have the Break 50 Challenge with Dechambeau and Trump. Huge video. It got views that golf never got before. I did a video covering it, doing swing analysis on Trump, and that even got some more views than I'm used to. You can see the effect that this one video had. Now, here is the question. If Bryson was still a part of the PGA Tour, they keep a cap on their players. They can't go out there and brand themselves like this, or else we'd see a lot more YouTube channels from PGA Tour players. Is that promoting the game like the PGA Tour really says they try to do? Now, this one video has probably done more for the growth of the game than the PGA of America and the PGA Tour have done combined in the last decade, and that says a lot. So let me know your thoughts about that below, and do you think that's correct? Do you think that this one video really sparked some growth of the game? And if not, tell me why. But either way, kudos to them for getting this video out there, and whether you like Trump or not, whether you like Dechambeau or not, you can't argue with what is happening statistically on his channel. Enough of this quick little news story. Let's get to the video that you've all been waiting to see, and that is how to hit at 190 miles per hour with a simple, smooth swing. It's not possible. Let's take a look. Before we take a look at the swing analysis, let's just watch Mr. Knapp making a 12 at the Arnold Palmer Invitation. This comes from a YouTube channel called Golf. So go check him out. Credits to that. But let's just watch this and let's look at why it doesn't really matter how far you hit the golf ball if you're not hitting it in the right place. Now we see that apex is 107. It's hard to tell how that got there. It's about right for the apex, but it could have a lower spin rate. It could have a higher spin rate, so we're not quite sure. But you can see he tried this multiple times to carry the same line, and he just doesn't make it by 3 or 4 yards. I mean, the carry, I think, is 306, and he landed at 303. This has Tin Cup written all over it. It kind of looks like me every 3 or 4 holes where I think about my glory days and I just start blocking it out of bounds. So he hits a couple out of bounds, a couple in the bushes. But let's just take a quick look at this iron swing, because this is what we're going to talk about in the swing evaluation, is how the hands really have to manipulate right after impact. See how low that is, and look how much travel time it has. It has gone well past that left shoulder, and we'll talk more about this in the swing analysis, but yeah, it makes more sense now why it can get a little bit off. Remember, he's human, hits the ball all over the place just like us. Obviously, they do it less than we do, but bottom line is he ended up making a 12 on a par 5 when he clearly has the distance to not get so greedy off the tee shot, but it happens. So just thought that'd make your day. He's one of us. Let's get to the video. Alright, so Jake Knapp is on the screen, and I've seen many videos covering his golf swing, and the titles all say the same. If you want to hit the golf ball over 190 miles an hour with 120 mile club head speed, all you gotta do is swing buttery smooth. But let's be honest, based on my demographics on this channel, we're all between the age of 45 and 75, and I think the only thing we've got to be concerned with butter is how much is on our steak. But let's just take a look at the swing, and let's look at why some of this can be misleading, because you have to have a certain body style and the athleticism of this man right here to pull the swing off. And we're going to look at some lines. So let's draw in let's do our favorite Barney Purple line to cap things off. Let's just do a spine line that goes right through the back of the ear, through the spine, lower plane line and upper plane line. Now the most important ones to look at is where is the centeredness. So you see the arches of the heels. We're going to go straight up. So it's slightly toe heavy, but it's still pretty good. You can tell it's toe heavy because look at the heels sticking up on the sky. One thing that he does immediately is he gets his left shoulder to dip further down. Now this will allow his hands to go up, but I want you to look at something that is unique with this swing, and it has to do with how much arm manipulation there is actually in this golf swing. But he can only do that because it gets an extreme amount of turn. So he definitely turns his whole body, keeps that club out in front of him. But look at the top of the swing hand. I want you to look at the shadow. So let's see if we can see some shadow work here. Right there. So if you look at the shadow, look at the body stops turning, but look at the arms. The arms keep going back and forth. And if you look at the very top of the swing, there is the top. Let's take a look at where that shadow of his club shaft is pointing. It is pointing right of the target. So this is slightly cross the line. Now, why did they cross the line? Because the arms went further back, and as they go further back, that lengthens the arc, but you cannot do that unless you have an exaggerated turn like he does with his upper body. So his hips are pretty tight, his shoulders are turning a lot, creating a lot of X factor. Now there's X factor stretch, and we'll see that happen with the hips fire and the shoulders will stay back. But what's important is the motion of the arms and hands immediately. So if we look at the green line, that's our center line, we can see that the arms are right on top of that center line. Now let's watch how many clicks it takes before we see the arms moving close to the golf ball. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, about 3 clicks before we see it moving forward. Now, why is that important? Because most of us from the top of the swing, because we've sacrificed some turn, we're already moving our hands towards the golf ball. Most of us at this point, if we try to get in this position where they're talking about buttering our steak with our golf club, and who knows what they're trying to say, is our arms will be moving this way, causing severe steepness out to in, pulls, pops, chunks. This sounds familiar. It sounds familiar to me, but let's take a look at his motion. It goes down. Now he is reconnecting. So he is automatically reconnecting. As he gets down to about here, we can see how things line up according to each other. So now we have the club shaft reaching that lower plane line pretty quickly, only because he pulled his hands down to connect them, and now he's rotating. But that doesn't solve much, because not only are they pulled down, but they're now connected to his right shoulder. So remember how they cross the line? They've got to now work their way back around. So we see the body at this point stop the turn, and watch now. 1, 2, 3. Look at that. So now we have 3 clicks with the hands doing most of the work down at impact, and there's not much going on with the body turn. Now, yes, the shoulders are tilting slightly to help him, and they are rotating ever so slightly, but they're not moving together as one unit. Why? Because he's got to reconnect his hands and arms, and he does it very well down at the impact zone. And we can see the exit path. Look at the shadow. The shadow now is pretty straight towards that target, but watch how quick it goes left. Look at that. So now let's do that in the same color. Let's do this in red so it doesn't get so confusing, and we don't need an arrow. Let's do it like that. So now we can see the club went from slightly right of the target to slightly left of the target. It is only square for a fraction of a second, and that, my ladies and gentlemen, is called timing. And most of us do not have that God-gifted talent or timing to pull this off. Only those that hit thousands of golf balls a week and do this for a living and have done it since a child can do this. And as we see the low exit path, as a result, we see how low those hands are, and they come on through much lower because now they're crossing back further to his left side of his body. And if we go to the top of the swing on the way back, we can see, where were they? They were much higher at the top, and there they are here. So you can see that they go, it's too many lines. Let's go, there is where they at the top, and then as they come through, we can see that lead arm is much lower. Man, my computer, I'll tell you what, if anybody has a used computer that can actually keep up, there we go. So we can see how much they've had to cross back over to left because they were pointing to the right at the top of the swing. So in a nutshell, we're going to look at the swing play over and over again. This is a beautiful swing. I'm not mocking the swing. It is phenomenal, and he is able to hit the golf ball immensely far, and it doesn't even look like he's hitting it that hard. And that's the beauty of it, is it is a whipping motion, much like cracking a whip. And we'll see, look at those hands have to reconnect in time and flick on through, and this man can hit the ball a ton as a result, and it is so effortless and smooth. So don't let it fool you. Even though it looks effortless and smooth, it requires a lot of strength and a lot of timing and coordination to make it happen. So, hope that helps you. Hope you enjoyed the new seminar, new session, I should say, a little bit earlier. If you did, hit that like, share, subscribe, share this with somebody else, because I'm about educating those who want to get a little bit better in golf, but also understanding cause and effect, and not to fall for all these clickbait stuff about how you're going to get X amount of yardage if you do this, and it's so simple. It's not simple. Trust me. Hope that helps you. Fairways and greens.